Hi guys, welcome to the Base Leader space. I'm Anders Carlsson. I'm Base Leader here at YWAM Transform in Sweden. Welcome back guys, it's really good to be together in this way again. We're doing these little videos in order to give an update about our ministry, about our base, where we're at, what's going on, what's happening, and what are we looking forward to, and so on. So really happy to be with you guys again. It's May, it's almost summer here in Sweden, so we're really happy. The sun is shining and we're enjoying the outdoors. These 6 months that we have of light in Sweden, we try to take advantage of it as much as we can. It's so beautiful and it's so nice. So really looking forward to more of summer now. And yeah, as a base, we're really happy to see a lot of things coming together in a good way in this time. Something that we've been dreaming of for a long time is to have a full-on second level school of biblical worldview. And now we're having it here in Stockholm, in the capital of Sweden. So we're really happy to see that come together. It's been a dream for many years, and now we have 6 students from different countries doing the school. And for us as leaders here, it's just also such a privilege to be able to pour into these young guys. They're so hungry, they're so thirsty, they're so curious and so open to God and to what the Bible teaches us about worldview. So how can we see the world through God's eyes really? And also how can we bring change? So in this school we want to equip people and have teachings and so on, but also really to bring people into action. So the students are also working with transformation projects. So this is something that we've felt as a vision for the base from the start, to see Sweden transform and to see the world transformed. So also to see the students really work on these projects. It's amazing stuff that they're working on. I think that's really going to bring hope, going to bring change, going to bring transformation to this nation, to Sweden, but also possibly to the nation. So really happy about that. So we're still running now for a month more. It's been running for 2 months. It's a 3-month school and that we're doing. So this is the first school that we've had of this kind, and then next year we're going to run it again, and every spring in this way we're going to keep running it. And also with that we want to see our kind of impact ministry developing and growing. Our impact ministry is about seeing change in society, so we love to see that. We've been to the parliament a lot in this time, also connecting with some of the leaders of this country and doing different things, having different initiatives. That's been so great. So good to see. And something that's also going on in this time, it's the DTS that started in January. Back in January we started the Revival DTS based in Linköping. So as you know, we are one base in 2 places, so Linköping and Stockholm. And so this Revival DTS started in Linköping in January, and it had its lecture phase until April. And during that time the group was traveling a lot also here in Sweden to visit churches and to kind of bring that revival flame to youth groups and to churches. And it's been so good to see how I think that there's something happening really in the church in Sweden, and we're happy to be part of that also. And now they're on outreach, so they all travel together, the whole school, to the Middle East, and we're so happy about that. The Middle East is something that God spoke to us about also in the early days, that this is an area where I want you to be focused, I want you to go. And as we know, there's also some challenges with the Middle East of going there when it comes to security and so on. But we want to go as much as we can. And now we have this group that have been to 2 different countries in the Middle East, and they're now in the second part of their outreach. And during the first part they were also able to help out in the aftermath of the earthquake that we had in the Middle East a few months ago. And so that's also been so good to see, and that possibility to go where the need is so high. It's been amazing. It's also been tough for the guys, so please pray for them as they're now having their last weeks of outreach. So yeah, it's really amazing what God is doing in that place. Also just bringing His love to people wherever they are, whatever kind of background you have, wherever you grow up, you are to get the possibility to hear about Jesus and to make Him your best friend and your Savior. So that's what we want to bring to this world. And so pray for them. We're so thankful for you guys standing with us in prayer and supporting us in different ways. So keep doing that. They really need that. They're getting tired now towards the end of the outreach. So please do that. Something that we're also really excited about is also to continue our season of pioneering. And God spoke already a long time ago about Malmö, this city in the south of Sweden. It's the third biggest city in Sweden, and it's just across the bridge from Copenhagen, the Danish capital. And we've been going there a lot through the years, and we love this city. It's such an amazing place. It's right by the ocean, and it's so diverse. It's so multicultural. I don't know even how many different nations are living there, but it's just so international in that way. And there are some really amazing churches there that we're connecting with, but we can also really see the need for more, the need for revival in this place, and also in this region in Skåne, in the south of Sweden. So this is something we're pouring into this year, and God has led us also to send a team there to be there for a time, kind of like a pre-troopers or whatever we call them, to kind of prepare the way for a more long-term YWAM base there. So that's what we're doing. So also you guys can be part of praying for that. And yeah, there's lots happening, a lot of updates. I could be sharing for a long time, I guess, but I'm not going to bore you. But something that we're also so happy about is Ung Mission, as we call it. So young missions, it would be in English. Which is youth group mission trips or outreaches. So that's in the fall school holiday in October, November. There's a week school holiday where we partner together with churches and do these trips together with youth groups and churches. And this year we have 2 churches that we're going with to 2 different locations in Southern Europe. So that's going to be so amazing also. So we'll be updating you more about that in the future. That's still coming up in a few months. There's still some time left. Also in this space, in the Base Leader space, my space, I take the chance to share a little devotional, share a little reflection about something. And what I thought about for this episode was a word that we maybe heard a lot of times, and it's the word transition. And I don't know, I really have so much thoughts about transition. It kind of really speaks to me so much when we talk about transition. And sometimes it can be like a worn out word a little bit. Oh, it's transition, time for transition. But I believe that it's really so dynamic, and it's such an opportunity. These times of transition, going from something into something. So always when we have a change in our lives and we go from something and then into something new, that's a key time in our lives. So that's also why I wanted to talk with you guys about that. And I think we've all experienced that, and also for you to be ready in the next season of transition that you will have. And we always talk about, like in the end of DTS, when our guys finish the DTS, that transition from the DTS into whatever God is calling them to is such a key time. Because it's a time of change, simply, and it's a time of going from something into something new. And so it's a time when God is leading us on, and He wants to bring us into new things in a good way. But we're also vulnerable in different ways, because as human beings we like change, but we don't like change also. And this is something I wanted to talk to you about, because transition is really so much of a possibility, but there's also a risk, because you know what you have, but you don't necessarily know what you will get, what you will have. So I think that's the kind of, that's the excitement, but also the fear kind of thing. We have many different kinds of transition situations in life that I will also take some examples from. But first, I just wanted to bring up the story from the Bible where the Israelites, the people of Israel, is leaving Egypt to go to the Promised Land. That sounds great, huh? The Promised Land. It was the land of the promises, but at the same time, they didn't know. They had never been there. They didn't know what it was, so to say. They were used to Egypt. They knew what they had in Egypt. But through that process, with Moses as their leader, they were at last kind of willing to say, yes, let's go. But you can really tell, and I think you guys, many of you know the story, when they actually get the permission from the king, from Pharaoh, to leave Egypt and then go. They get going, but then the king changes his mind and starts chasing after them. And they are right there on the verge of the Red Sea, and they don't know what to do. If they look back, they have the Egyptians coming after them. If they look in front of them, they have the Red Sea in front of them. And so it kind of looks impossible. And that's how we can feel sometimes in times of transition, that looking back, it doesn't look that great, and looking forward doesn't look that hopeful either. So I just want to read from Exodus chapter 14, verse 10, and then a couple of verses there. This is very dramatic, and transition is not always this dramatic, but sometimes it can feel like this in our emotions. So it says, as Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up, and there were the Egyptians marching after them. They were terrified and cried out to the Lord. They said to Moses, Egypt that you brought us out to they said to Moses, what was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die? Quite dramatic there. What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert. So the people, they're quite challenged there in that situation, and they're afraid. They're filled with fear, and we can relate. We can understand them. And this is what happens many times when we start looking back. Oh, it would have been better to stay where we were. Maybe it was better where we were, and we're not convinced that this change is actually leading to something good, so to say. But I believe that transition is such a time of opportunity and a time to move on from something that was maybe good. Many times it's not about moving from something bad to something good, but from something good to something better, because God has something better for you. And this phrase that I got when I thought about this was valuing the past, embracing the future. So valuing the past, embracing the future. I think that's the kind of key, to look back with thankfulness and see the value that has brought to you, the things you've learned and the things you were blessed with, and so on. But not hold on to that with nostalgia, like, oh, that was, the good old days. But to look forward and embrace the future, embrace what you're going into. Say yes to that, and kind of go into that with your whole heart, and also fight for that, knowing that this is something better, because in there's also trust in God, that you trust that He has something better for you. So just thinking about some different situations of transition that we can have in life. One thing is something that I've gone through the last year. We moved from Linköping here to Stockholm as a family, and that's a lot of change. We have 4 kids, and so with the whole family to move, you can start thinking about all kinds of things, schools and friends and everything for the kids, and also for us, so to say. So moving from one house to another, or maybe moving from one city to another, or even from one country to another, that it's natural to reflect a lot about that and think a lot about it, but also then to value the past. For me, for example, I value the time in Linköping. I value the years that we had there, good years, but I'm embracing the future that God is bringing me into. Finishing school is one of those typical things. If we finish high school and we're to move on to university or to do a DTS, of course, or if we finish school and then we're going to go on to having a job and so on, that's another situation. Or simply a new job, or like a new kind of ministry role where you serve, so to say. That can be that kind of time of transition. Another transition situation that I thought of was age, actually. That sometimes we can need to really value the past and embrace the future when it comes to our age. I remember when I turned 25, for example. That's some years ago. I was processing that. I didn't feel as young anymore. I'm closer to 30 than 20, and so I had to process that. But staying in and pretending that you're still living in what you had before will not help you. But valuing what you had, those youth years were good, but then embracing the future. Marriage and children, those are big transitions in life. I've lived them myself, and those are also amazing examples of how you, in those times of transition, need to really come into that with blessing the past and kind of being thankful for what you had, but also then embracing what you're going into, because it's going to be different. Transition always involves change, otherwise it wouldn't be transition. And so to embrace that change is really the key, and of course making the most out of it and going into it with that trust in the Lord. I think that's the key. So that's the little devotional, the thought that I wanted to bring to you today and encourage you. Maybe you're in a season of transition now, or maybe you will be in the coming years. So then you can think about this and think about, okay, how can I do that in a good way in order to go from from one phase in my life to the next in victory and in blessing. And I think from God's perspective, He wants to use what we have lived through in order to bounce into the new things that He has for us. So it's not any contradiction really, but He wants us to go from victory to victory. So that's something I want to send to you guys. And something I just want to finish with is also an invitation to all of you that are looking at this and that are standing with us at YWAM Transform, is that we are celebrating 15 years this year. 2023 is the year right now. We started it back in 2008 in October in Linköping. We started the base with God's grace, and He had called us, He had spoken to us about a transformed Sweden and a transformed world. And it was really the small beginnings back then, and who would know that we would now be here in Stockholm and now having the base in 2 places and expanding into more places in this year and the coming years. And so we want to celebrate, and you are invited. So it's going to be the weekend of 22nd and 23rd September. This year in Linköping, we're going to have a big feast, a big party. There's information on Facebook and in other communication that we bring to you, so also just look out for that. And we want this really to be like a homecoming weekend for all of you guys that have done DTS with us or have been on staff with us or friends that have been standing with us through the years. We are so thankful to you, and we're so thankful to God for all these years. Most of all, we want to celebrate God's faithfulness and all that He has done during these 15 years. But it's also going to be a time where we look forward into the plans that He has for the coming years. And it's really exciting. It's really exciting. We're going to have a lot of prayer and worship together and a lot of good food. So it starts with barbecue Friday afternoon, and then it continues into Saturday with some kind of looking back at some good moments, sharing stories, and then also looking into the pioneering projects that we have coming up. And then Saturday evening will be like a great big celebration evening like that. So welcome the 22nd and 23rd of September this year. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys today. And after summer we'll be back with a new update and also the celebration, of course. Please keep praying for us, for the team. We do have challenges when it comes to certain areas with the typical finances and visas and so on. So please pray for us. Pray for the upcoming DTS starting in September also. It's going to be here in Linköping and then here in Stockholm, and then we're going to have the DTS in January, starting in Linköping, being located there mostly. So please pray for that also. And God bless you guys. See you.